Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. We're taking a look at Sandbox, and just before we do, we look at Bitcoin as well, because I think it's important to understand what's going on there. We'll just go ahead and quickly peek at Bitcoin. Now, looking here at Bitcoin, we can see we're basically making lower highs and lower lows, essentially. We did have kind of a break-even point here where our second potential lower low didn't happen. In other words, it kind of stayed right there at 46,600. So tentatively 46.6 is the support level for Bitcoin. Also note too, if we look at the 1 hour chart, you can also see that we do have higher highs and higher lows on the shorter time frame, right? So it's a little premature, a little new, but for lack of better terms, right now we're looking pretty good. If Bitcoin can hold above right here at about 46,700, which is a major Fibonacci retracement level, and of course, turn around, because we're looking at right around a 7 here for TD sequential, we shouldn't see much more continuation of the downside. This is a kind of a healthy, normal trend that you see in crypto all the time. Where the price comes up, slowly sells off to 7, 8, or 9, and then bounces off that major support level. So we're hoping that we get a bounce here to the upside to make another higher high. Closer to 50,000, we can break 50,000 in the 1 day chart. I think we're in much better shape. It would break that ridiculous trend that we're in right now. This is bearish triangle pattern where the price just continues to break down further, right? So you can see that the price just cannot seem to exceed or break free from that lower high pattern, okay? So ultimately, that's what we're looking for. So all good stuff there for Bitcoin in that sense. We're not terrible. We're not in dire straits, but it's just kind of putting a brief pause on most coins right now. There's very few coins right now moving independent of Bitcoin, and Sandbox is no exception right now. We're still fairly reliant on Bitcoin's behavior. But we get some consistency from Bitcoin, coins like this will recover. And one thing that's kind of nice too, and you saw this very strong recovery here on the 1 hour, just really quick touch on it, we saw a very significant bounce off of the support level, almost a 20% bounce in no less than 5 or 6 hours. And that was, what, 452. Yep, $4.52 was essentially the bottom. And and believe it or not, that was the previous all-time high, right? That was basically the 1 day candlestick close. That's why I drew this line out from before on the chart. So in other words, that is a nice strong support level, so that did hold. So that's a very good sign. So let's go ahead and work our way down. And just before we do, just so you know, I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. I have a trading community designed for the sole purpose of helping you become more self-sufficient. I have a tremendous amount of trading videos I'm rolling out with here soon for a trading academy, essentially, and that's all going to be available through my website, which will be available in January. So all good stuff there. Definitely consider joining there as well, so you can lock in your rate before the price increases inevitably in the future, just based on a large amount of demand that I have currently. So thank you again to my current subscribers. You are amazing. You make my life tremendously better, and just great to be able to develop relationships with people across the globe. This is an amazing experience. So jump on in there when you get a chance. So looking at Sandbox, the 1 day chart, let's go ahead and note a couple of obvious things here. So looking at the simple moving average, you can see the 50 is working its way up right in that support zone. That's awesome news, because that's going to help drive the price action likely higher. So I think we're at this point where we're going to probably see some price increase here in the near future. We got to start seeing some increases here soon. And it's just kind of inevitable with all these moving averages slowly coming to fruition. The 200 on the 1 day chart for Bitcoin, for example, is holding as a strong support level as well, right at 46.7. So good stuff there. Ultimately, what we're looking at here, though, is for the RSI to break above 50. In other words, we want to be above 50 because it kind of gives us more so a bullish sentiment over bearish. But you can see here, of course, we've got this nice little turnaround here with this oscillator coming back up here, so to speak. We should see in the next few days a convergence on the MACD where the 12 intersects with the 26 in upward fashion, and right then and there, we're going to be in a much better position to be able to see that push to the upside. Granted, we want to see that more so on the 4 hour chart than the 1 day chart, but it's healthy to see RSI up over 50 on the 1 day chart regardless, because it gives us that bullish sentiment, right? And we're right now kind of trending between bullish and bearish for the moment. So kind of figuring itself out. All right, so let's take a look here at the 4 hour chart. We're above the 50. Actually, no, we just broke below the 50 and the 200. So not great, but not terrible. It's based simply the fact that, you look at Bitcoin, we have the same exact pattern here. I mean, this is almost identical. So, I mean, we got that same little candy cane shape. I guess we can go with that theme right now. It's a candy cane shape. And essentially, hopefully, we get a reverse candy cane and the price goes up. That makes any sense. I don't think that's the technical term for it, but we'll roll with it considering it is the season. Now, what we want to look at is the RSI. We're looking at a bounce potentially off 50 on the RSI. This is great. we can stay above 50 this time around, we'll be in good shape, because you can see that we kind of lost 50 before and the price coming up. And we ultimately want to be able to kind of break that line there, which I can't draw a straight line, right around 60 on the RSI. So hopefully we get this little bounce, the price comes back up, and we'll be in really, really good shape there. But all in all, not bad. I'd like to see that, generally speaking, we're looking good. We even have this potential divergence here on the MACD, but that's not important as long as we get a bounce here and we get this nice little higher high pattern. So that's what we're looking for ultimately. Just bear in mind, and there, it's kind of the elephant in the room, right? We got this pattern essentially right now, as we see on pretty much all charts, where the price is essentially working itself into a wedge, right? So we got this little wedge. Oftentimes the price breaks to the downside. When you have a wedge type pattern like this, it's already broken to the downside, so I'm not super concerned with it. In fact, it's not really much of a triangle pattern considering how much it's kind of going down. In fact, we could probably even say it's more so like a flag type of pattern. But just note that oftentimes when it starts from the upside, it'll likely continue to the downside. The likelihood of bouncing up and going straight up right now is pretty low, again, contingent on Bitcoin success. So I wouldn't expect Sandbox to just take off tomorrow. Okay, I just want to get that clear. The charts don't tell us that right now, but we are expecting a turnaround soon, and the fact that we have a lot of consolidation in this area. In fact, why don't we take a look at the volume? If we look at the volume, we can see we have a larger volume accumulation here. In fact, pretty much taking over here essentially, where the price action right around $5.30 has the most amount of volume in the past. How many days of this? Is the last trading days about, just say 20 trading days? So in 3 weeks, we've seen more volume here than we did up here previously at 710. That gap in between, once we can break above, just say we can get a higher high and higher low here, say we get this nice little higher high, higher low, then that's going to work as a strong support level. So that's the great thing about volume. It works as a potential resistance or a potential support. So if we can break above and stay above, start making higher highs and higher lows, our new support level will be $5.30, right? And then we can continue to the upside, start adding to our positions confidently. So that's ultimately what we're looking for. But right now, again, not in bad shape. We really look pretty decent considering, even though we do have this descending pattern, okay? Because there's definitely some positives. The key is for us to break this pattern soon. We really have to see some type of break to the upside to get across this plane right here. Like this previous high of $5.42, or sorry, 546. If we can get higher than 546 and then make that the new low, we'll be just fine. That would reaffirm the support level there at 530 for the volume profile and continue to work our way up. We should be just fine once we hit that. So I'm going to set an alert actually for, what is it? We'll go ahead and just break the plane. We'll say 550, just be on the safe side. And once I see that cross that plane, I'll reevaluate and make sure we look and see if it might be worth taking a position. All right. But again, we want to have confirmation we're moving in the right direction. Buying a dip doesn't always work if you have multiple dips to follow, right? So just be cautious. Try not to chase the bottom. It's a very easy thing to do when you're starting out, but it's really doesn't ever benefit anybody. Rarely you'll get lucky, and you'll think that that's the way it works, and then you're gonna get screwed later. Either way, let's go ahead and look at this here. The really quick last thing here is TD sequential. We're at a 9 right now too, which is also nice. We're technically at a 7 on Bitcoin, but we're at a 9 here for Sandbox. So we should expect somewhere in the range of just say 0 to 4 hours worth of downside, right? So there's potential it could go lower, but this is likely the bottom for now. And what would be great is if that is the bottom, we continue to reaffirm the support at 504, we break the plane of 530 from the volume, and then of course we make a higher high and then make the low 550. If we can make a higher low of 550 in 24 hours, we're going to be doing very good. So ultimately a lot of good stuff here for Sandbox. Great potential, of course, that's what we want to see, but we're kind of fair to middling in general overall, and the whole market's like this. So try not to feel down that Sandbox isn't doing great, because it is the best of its class, right? And I think it's going to outperform majority of the other ones, as far as other coins that are similar to this. But you just got to be real. We're not quite there yet. We don't know if we've hit the bottom just yet. The likelihood of this turning around is fairly high, but it could literally just the bottom could fall out of Bitcoin tomorrow, and none of this matters. So we really just got to kind of pay attention to Bitcoin, see how it recovers. If we can get that support at 48,000, 47.8 to bounce and hold, we're going to be in pretty good shape if we can get this guy to hold and the price comes back up. It looks like it's doing so far so good, but again, a little too early to tell. So all good stuff here. All in all, not terrible. We want to break 50,000 for Bitcoin, and we want to break $5.30, no less, preferably 550 for Sandbox. Those are the two immediate goals. Big picture, we'll worry about that later. Sandbox isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but it does have potential to get back to its all-time high and then some. That's definitely a certainty. It's just a matter of when at this point, and we're going to figure that out soon. Thanks again for joining me here. If you're not currently a community member, consider subscribing. Link in the description below. We'll have a new website out soon. We're working very hard on that to make sure we have a nice training academy for all of our new members, including our current members. Thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.